VEVOR has done an amazing job with this 52cc gas-powered auger. This thing is absolutely money, an absolute tank. This thing works really well. Now the handles have a really nice comfort foam grip here to help absorb any shock. The only installation is actually installing the handles. You just have these 4 bolts on each side and those bolt right in. You've got a 1.2 liter gas tank. This thing also comes with an extra fuel can as well as a spark plug. I've got those in this little toolkit that comes equipped. This has all the tools for installation or any sort of maintenance that may be needed for this auger. Also included are these extension poles. Each one of these poles is 7.8 inches long, and you get 2 different bits associated with this. This one is the smaller bit. Each bit is made out of a power-coated alloy steel and very powerful. This bit is really sharp and really powerful and is able to dig through, in my opinion, any type of soil. Here I've got really heavy clay soil, and let's go ahead and test this out, see how well this thing works. Installing the bits on the auger is as easy as this little cotter pin. Just pull that little cotter pin, slide the pin out, and then that just inserts right here on this little extension that is driven by the engine. So what we're going to be doing here is installing one of those automatic hose reels. Now the only reason we're using a shovel here is to dig down to the really thick weed barrier that was installed by the landscapers. We're just going to cut a big section out before we use the auger just so that that doesn't bind up on the drill bits. And here we go, first pull, this thing starts right up. This thing is absolutely money. On the handle it does have an emergency kill switch in case you run into any situation you may need to shut it off really quickly. So underneath all this nice compost is the original soil that is in this area. A really thick, heavy clay soil. So every now and then I'm going to kind of stop and pull the auger out just to clear the soil, and then I'll come back with it and really dig the hole out. This thing was an absolute tank, worked so well. The total depth that we went with this hole was about 2.5 to 3 feet deep, and probably took a total of maybe a couple minutes once we actually got started digging. This thing worked really well if you're using this to install any fence posts or have to do a lot of planting. This thing works really well. Just check out that little perfect hole there. That thing is awesome. There is still a little bit of loose soil in there, so we're going to go ahead and dig that out. But other than that, we're ready to install this hose reel. This thing worked really well. I highly recommend checking this thing out by VEVOR. An absolute unit of a tool.